Sometimes the best stories in golf aren't found on tour. You'll find them at the back of the range. And here's your host, Ben Adelberg.
And welcome to the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. I am your host, Ben Adelberg. This is episode 137. Lots of golf courses are open around the country. They've opened down here in Palm Beach County. I'll be returning to my summer digs May 13th at Quail Ridge Country Club, so make sure you are adhering to all of the policies that are being instituted at your course. I know that we all want to keep playing, so do it safely and do it wisely. Some very exciting news coming out of Seminole Golf Club. There is going to be a charity match pitting Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy against Ricky Fowler and Matthew Wolff. This is the first time you will see televised golf at Seminole Golf Club. Opened in 1929, famous course designed by Donald Ross. I know that Dick Wilson had some adjustments to the course around World War II time. And then, of course, Coore and Crenshaw have restored some aspects in the last 5 years. I had the fortune of playing it just before the quarantine went into effect. Now, I don't know Jimmy Dunn very well. I spent a nice day with him. He was a guest on the podcast, episode 123. But I do know this. He would not want me to say that he made this whole match happen, so I'm not going to do that. But he is the president of Seminole, so I will say that I'm sure he had a hand in it in some manner. Now, I know I tell you all to go back and listen to all the previous episodes, but if you have not listened to my conversation with the Dunn Man in episode 123, you need to go back and take a listen. Absolutely incredible man, incredible stories, and if you're looking forward to the Walker Cup next year at Seminole, well, I'm sure you can imagine who also had a hand in that happening. As I've said many times, don't forget every single episode is available at thebackoftherange.com. We're on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure that you're following along. It's a good way to find out what's happening in the world of golf and what guests are going to be joining me in the future. So I'm also putting together an email subscriber list, which I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for, but it might just be for announcing episodes or perhaps sending some stories that have never made it into a released episode. There will definitely be some VIP info in there, so to speak. So I recommend going to the link in the show notes. It'll show you how to add your email address. Super quick and easy. Just go do it. I'm not going to spam you. In fact, I've not sent out one email yet, but once I do, I will have some good information in there for you. Last Friday's episode, Will Zalatoris joined me to talk about the fundraiser event that they had at Merido Golf Club in Dallas. Will played on that dominant 2017 U.S. Walker Cup team that won at LACC, and my guest this week was on that team as well. Our guest on this episode is Doc Redman. First of all, Doc is his real name. I didn't ask him that. He's been asked that before. You should know that already. Doc is his real name. And just like Zalatoris, he had an incredible 2017 season. Honorable mention All-American, South Carolina Amateur Athlete of the Year, runner-up at the Western Am, and yes, he made that incredible run from the playoff to get into match play all the way to the final match where he came back against Doug Gim and captured the 2017 U.S. Amateur. We talked about the Walker Cup, we talked about his time at Clemson, and also we discussed the success he's seen as a professional. Now, I know that Hovland and Wolff and Morikawa get a lot of attention, and rightfully so. They've all won on the PGA Tour. Well, you need to keep your eye on Doc. He shares the story about how he went from playing the Mackenzie Tour in Canada to wrapping up his PGA Tour card in just a couple weeks. So I've been chasing after Doc for quite some time, wanted to get him on the podcast. This was a lot of fun, so let's get to it. Doc, finally, you're at the back of the range. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, we're in the same boat. I'm letting listeners know when we record since everything changes from day to day. So it's March 30th, and, we're stuck in this coronavirus pandemic that's a very real thing. And while golf is not the most important thing in the world, obviously it's what we kind of talk about here. How are you staying busy? What are you doing to not go crazy when there's no professional golf tournaments to play in?
Right. For the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to go to the beach a lot, actually, since I don't really get that opportunity a whole lot. And get a nice tan. So they actually just closed it yesterday.
Okay.
So went Saturday for the last day of, who knows how long. And that was a lot of fun, playing a lot of spike ball. And then I actually just started practicing a little bit today. So that was nice as well.
There you go. Yeah, I saw spike ball on TV. Is that,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a for real thing. That's the new thing.
Well, yeah, I think it's really a lot of, you'll see it in a college town somewhere, on any field, some kids will be playing. And I just wanted a good way for like me and my friends to get out on the beach and have, some competitive. So it's been great. We love it.
Nice. Yeah, I saw it on TV and I was like, okay, that looks kind of cool. I may need to watch a little bit more of that. So
Right. Right. I agree. It is at first. I think I wasn't a huge fan when I first saw it. And then after, getting it and playing it, it's great.
Is this the longest time that you've spent away from the game of golf? And I know you're able to hit balls. I know you're up at TPC Sawgrass and you're up in that kind of Ponte Vedra, Jacksonville area. So I know you still have access to actually hit balls and do something.
Right.
As far as competitively, without a tournament to circle on your calendar, is this the longest break you've had?
Yeah, probably is, which is, I think, good and bad. I think talking to a lot of people and a lot of other PGA Tour players, more specifically, and myself included, just like this is exactly, it's the first time in a long time where we haven't had to do anything golf wise, and we don't have anything really circled on the calendar. So it's really nice to not play golf and, for a lot of people spend more time with their family and all that. So, and then, the downside of it is who knows when we'll play again. They say Colonial, and kind of like we had talked about it, that would be awesome. But, wouldn't put any money on that right now, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but, the season's not going to sneak up on us. No. How about that? So I think, the level of golf you'll see coming out, it might even be a lot better just because, like you said, there's not a lot of time to work on your game. And for a lot of people, this is going to be it, to have a solid month or two after a nice, month off.
Yeah, it presents a lot of interesting situations. You have guys that maybe are, rehabbing some injuries and maybe even,
right.
Getting in the gym and taking care of some things. And then you've, obviously you've had a good solid start to this season. So you're not, behind an 8-ball. You're just in a nice kind of a somewhat of a secure spot as much as possible, I would imagine. So I guess you're just going to try and pick it up right where you left off.
Yeah, exactly. I would actually, in the last 2 weeks, had kind of switched putting styles and putters, and I'd started putting great, and I thought my game was coming along really nicely. So I guess, that part's a bummer too. I was pretty excited to come to some, really big tournaments. The Florida Swing's always fun. And then I feel like the season really gets going, after that, in a final push for the Masters. And then after that, there's a lot of great tournaments. So yeah, it's weird, but it was nice to get off to a decent start. And like you said, I guess I always think about it. I could have played a lot better and, had my card already locked up, but I could also played a lot worse. So, I am where I am, and you got to love it.
Yeah, no, you're in a good spot. There's guys I know that are on developmental tours and mini tours, and they're just
right.
kind of like
that's also true.
Yeah, they're kind of in quicksand right now. So you mentioned not putting your money on things. I really hate to pull something off of your PGAtour.com profile page, but this jumped out. You're passionate about about the stock market. What are you?
No,
that can't. Not now. I hope. Please, just
no.
Okay.
That was. I don't even know why that's still on there. I was for a little while, like last year, because I wasn't playing a lot of golf and I had some money to throw around just for fun. So me and my the guy who carried for me in the AM, actually, we'd kind of every day look at some like just off the 8-ball stocks to get into, and we had a lot of fun with it. Now No, I pay someone to do that now.
Yeah,
So
I could sell you a mattress to put your money in if you want to. That might be
right.
the safest place for you.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about your caddy that you're talking about Dean Emerson. I assume that caddy.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about him because I love that story. You know, we'll get into a little bit of your PGA Tour journey, but you know, we talk a lot of amateur golf around here. That seems to be where a lot of the fun stories lie. And obviously, for people listening, they know I just spoke to your coach at Clemson, Larry Penley, who I mentioned before recording that that's a guy that you want to have a couple beers and some fried chicken with. I mean, just
Right.
salt of the earth, the coolest guy. You had this really great junior and amateur success before you went to Clemson. You know, state high school champ and you know top 5 in the junior invitational at Sage Valley and Carolina amateur success. But I think I remember that you did not commit very early to a college, and I mean you ended up going to Clemson. I know that was a great choice for you, but
right.
Can you maybe walk me through maybe just the process of you going to college?
Yeah. So I think I committed sometime when I was maybe after my sophomore year in college or in high school. Sorry, I think I committed somewhere around there. Yeah, and I was my parents actually both of them went to Oklahoma State, so I grew up a big Oklahoma State fan. And
wow.
Yeah, how interesting is that? So, you know, looked at them when I was out playing the AJGA was there, and looked at a few other schools that were kind of not in North Carolina, but around the area because I didn't want to go too far.
Sure.
And sitting on Clemson, you know, Coach Penley and Coach Bird were awesome. And I loved how, you know, we've got a few guys on tour now and have had a bunch in the past. So I thought it was just the perfect place. And yeah, I'm glad I went. Obviously, it was great, but it was nice, honestly, to get the commitment out of the way, I think. And after that, I wasn't too worried about, you know, exactly my results.
Right.
I was just worried about getting better. And I started playing a bunch of local amateur stuff because I thought, you know, that was better competition and that's where I should go play.
Now, one of the great things that I loved when just, you know, getting prepared to talk to you is that the last job you had was a caddy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's so great that, you know, you grew up in the game, you know, looping at Old Chatham in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And what makes it even better is that a member there is who was on your bag at the USAM win in 2017. So let me ask you, how does caddying help you as a player?
That's a good question. I think you just get a better understanding of the game and a different perspective. You know, you're seeing someone else do it, and I guess obviously not at a high level, but then you know how a lot of different shots play, and you can critique how people do it and how you would do it differently, and probably just kind of rounds you out a little bit, you know. And definitely, I thought gave me great, you know, social skills, especially with, you know, business women, men and women, and
right.
just how to talk to people respectfully and professionally.
How did so again and I mean I'm sure there's a time when you're at Old Chatham where maybe someone doesn't know who you are and they say, hey, you want to come join us for 9 holes. I'm guessing, and that course looks awesome, by the way. I looked it up. That place looked fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. It's lots of fun, great shape, you know, a true golf club, I would say.
Yeah. Now, how did you? I think you had Dean on your bag in the Northeast.
I did, yeah.
So, how did you connect with him to the point where, you know, you're foregoing maybe a local caddy? Because, you know,
right.
when you're going out to Rib, you're going out to Bel Air. I mean, these are courses that you really should have someone, or at least you would think you'd want someone that has experience on that course. How did you make the decision to bring him along?
Yeah, you know, I don't remember exactly. I think I just, you know, we had become pretty close playing, and he caddied for me at the Northeast where we played well. I think we came in like 5th or 6th, which at the time was awesome for me. And I just thought it'd be fun to have him out there. You know, we stayed with my cousin nearby, and I guess I never even really thought about having a local caddy. I figured we could figure it out. And if I had someone who I was enjoying my time with while I was there, then, it'd all be good.
Yeah. Well, you had, U.S. Am experience in the past. You made it to second round in 2016. And then obviously you go in this really great run in 17 where you runner up to Norman Jong in the Western Am, and you ran through a future Walker Cup teammate, Cameron Champ, and you have all this great success. And again, it's well chronicled. You go through the USAM as I guess the number 62 seed after getting through the playoff of that. I think I spoke with, oh gosh, who did I speak to about I just spoke with Austin Squires, who was just at the, and he had that 4 hour, just that long way to that playoff. That's got to be just the worst. That's pretty much the worst day I would imagine for an amateur golfer. I mean, it's a great thing to be a U.S. amateur, but that playoff is just brutal.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You're talking about the one at Pebble?
No, I was actually talking about, well, no, his was at Pinehurst last year. And then yours was like what, like a 16 for 9, something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that, 16 for 9. And they did a good job starting it on 10. And you just knew it was going to be tougher than we all thought. And I grinded out a good par there on 10. And I think bogey ended up being okay too.
Wow.
Some crazy, like they only went one hole.
And that's the short par 4 that basically is just staring you right in the face saying, come on, drive it. Just pipe driver. And
I mean, that was kind of a stacked playoff too. I know I can't remember exactly who all was in there, but I vividly remember Scotty making about a triple. And yeah,
not
which I should remind him of.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds like it's going to freshen your mind. Yeah,
it was just, he was in like the last group and it was coming down to it. And he just got in some bad spots, but I'm sure obviously I could kid with him now about that. I should have at the Walker Up, but I actually, that playoff is awful. It's, tough when you finish around the number and have to wait like I did in LA. And man, it's just, it's brutal, but it's a great championship. I actually have some good stories from the year before. Two good match play.
Give them to me.
These golf wise are probably better than anything I have.
Okay.
From Riv, I have some good off the course stories, I feel like.
Oh,
but
perfect.
Yeah, but so we're at Oakland Hills and just staying. My mom's there and I had my coach at the time on the bag, and we're staying in a hotel and make it to match play, which was obviously great. And round 1 played Noah Goodwin.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was obviously really young because that was before I even got to school. So, shit's got to be like 2 years younger than me. So, he was the guy at the time, especially in junior golf.
He won the US Junior, I think, in 2014, if I remember.
But so we go into this first round match and I ended up beating him 1 up or 2 up, something like it. Finished on 18, dramatic and all, like I like to do, obviously. And we're walking off the green and there's 3 writers who flock to him for a story. And I just walk on by to the clubhouse and I'll never forget that. I was like, man, this is crazy. I just won and they're talking to him, that's nuts. And so I don't know, that's always stuck with me. It's funny. And then round 2, I got Sam Horsfield. Yep. And this is obviously he's playing great over in the European Tour now, but this is when he was,
killing it at Florida.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
He was the best.
Yep.
And, I just remember the front 9. I remember playing pretty well, whatever that was. I might've shot 1 under even, something like that, which out there was pretty good.
Yep.
And I think I was 4 or 5 down.
Yep.
He just shot 29. And then, I hung on for as long as I could. and I think lost on like 13 or 14. And, he was like 2 inside the course record. And so I'll always remember that too, is like going playing Sam Horsfield, playing pretty well, and he was going to break the course record.
Yeah. And that's how it is. You can't anticipate.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't predict anything.
Right.
That's crazy though about the Noah Goodwin story. And
yeah.
And and it's funny how you said that it's always stuck with you. I guess when I've read other interviews you've done or read articles, it always seems to come across as that like you're coming out of nowhere or no one saw you coming. And I'm like, well, he won a lot in high school and he won in college and he, he's gotten all these tournaments. Is that kind of something that just kind of your persona? Like, yeah, I'm not real flashy. I'm not going to tell you how good I am. I'm just going to put my head down and work, and I'll just get there eventually. And if I surprise people, it's great, but it's not
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it is that way. Yeah. I feel like it's always been that way. I was pretty good in high school, and I didn't really care to be the best high school golfer in the country because, my mind was towards the future, but sure. I was pretty good, and, a lot of people liked other guys, and that's kind of why I went to Clemson, is like, I was their guy. They really loved me, and it was like, man, it's nice to go somewhere loved. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing in college. I played pretty darn well my first year, 2 wins in the fall, and, Norman comes out and he was the man, which he was.
Yeah.
That's nothing against him. Obviously I love Norman, but he was the guy. So he got a lot, and then, so yeah, I guess it has been like that. It's all right. It's fine. I got to just keep getting better and keep, make something for them to talk about. How about that?
I mean, yeah, if that's what you got to do, I think it's going to be fascinating when you do pick up that first win, or you do, or as your career progresses, it's going to be really fascinating to see what those questions are going to be, where
right.
you're probably going to get the same stuff. Like, I'm guessing you get questions that are about Wolf, Morikawa, and Hovland almost all the time, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I don't really get to interview that much, but yeah, they do talk about it.
Okay. All right. But I'm just guessing, like, every young star is being compared to those three when, it's confusing.
I mean, I think at the same time, I said this to someone too, recently, maybe at Honda, like they're talking about those 3 guys and no one talks about Scotty Scheffler, and Scotty is, him or Colin are probably right next to each other on the world golf ranking right now.
Right.
And no one talks about Scotty, and Scotty's played, incredible this year.
Yeah.
So I think that, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. No one talked about, I love Victor, but, he goes out and wins in Puerto Rico, and congrats. That's awesome. And, I know Scotty was in Mexico playing the WGC. So that's why he hasn't won yet, because he's over there playing WGCs.
Right. No, you're 100. It's fascinating to see who's getting the juice in the pub, and it's. Are you a big social media guy? Is that even on your radar? Like, you're not thinking about your brand, are you?
I mean, I guess a little bit, yeah, but I don't want to be that guy always on the phone or always posting about everything in my life. Just kind of
right.
To some extent, do my own thing, and when I want to post something, I'll do it. And I'm trying to get better at like Instagram stories, just little snippets of what's going on, or if I see something cool, so I don't actually have to post about everything.
There you go.
But so, we'll see. I think it would be awesome to, have a big following, and I think that just comes with, I'd like to do that through playing really good golf, and just being myself.
That's the best way to do it. Do it with your actions. So you pick up. So I know that everyone knows how you had the come from behind win in the final match against Gim with the eagle birdie and then birdieing on the 19th hole. I guess I want to ask you about Walker Cup and how quickly. Obviously, you were told pretty much right after you win that you're on the Walker Cup team, and the span of time between the USAM and the Walker Cup. Did you go home or did you just stay out there? What was kind of the gap between that?
Yeah, so I flew home the next day after I won to Raleigh, where my parents live, and got my stuff and headed down to school in Clemson. I think I was home for like a day, then had to go down to school for like 10 days and ship out because we got there like 9 days before the matches started.
It's a long
So
week, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, we had a ton of fun and it was awesome, but it's a lot of build up. You're there for a long time for like just 2 quick days. You blink and it's over.
Yeah.
Which is great, but it's just interesting.
Yeah. Well, this 2017 team, I think it's a little too early to tell, obviously, what kind of comparison you can make between that team and the 2007 team. The 2007 team had Ricky and Webb Simpson and DJ, and this 2017 team was, I mean, gosh, the names, they're already starting to trickle onto the PGA Tour. You're already starting to see wins in the PGA Tour with, Champ, and you mentioned Scheffler and Morikawa. You get in there, you're the U.S. Amateur champion, and it's just that quick turnaround. I know you failed to contribute a point, and I'm not bringing it up to bring up bad memories, but I'm curious, is it just that you were kind of out of gas just for the entire craziness around the U.S. Amateur win, or did it just, you caught some kind of couple buzzsaws, or what was your kind of takeaway of on the course at the Walker Cup?
I actually, right after the USAM, went home and we made some swing changes before the Walker Cup.
Oh.
And so in the interest of my game in the long term, I really was playing. It took me a long time to get comfortable with my swing and to get it where we wanted, probably into middle of the spring.
Okay.
So I played in 2 alternate shot matches, and I recall thinking I played decent. One, Braden and I kind of got, we got beat in situations that you wouldn't have thought we got beat in, and I thought we played really well. And Will and I had a tough morning from what I remember, the first day, and then I was kind of just maybe a little too emotional in the singles match, but at that point, we had killed them already. We already won.
Yeah.
I was towards the end, and I don't even know when we won, but it had to be on my front 9.
Yeah. That day was pretty much over before it got started. So
right, and so yeah, it wasn't the best, and I guess it is a little embarrassing to score 0 points, especially when I think we had 3 guys score 4. But it was more about the team anyway. We won. That's what's important. It's not about
absolutely
what I do.
No, absolutely. I was just curious how just the turnaround from the U.S. Amateur, and I did not know that you were going through a swing change. I had the great pleasure of sitting down and having a beer with Spider Miller, and
yeah,
that is a special guy. When was the first time you met Spider?
Man, I don't remember that summer when I did. I was kind of on the outside looking in the whole time and trying to impress him, and might have been at the Western, maybe when I made it to match play, Maida just said, hey, he was out there watching most of the week, and he did watch me play Cam Champ actually in one of the matches, and that was awesome. And I mean, I played some awesome players in that as well. It's crazy. I played Will Gordon in the first round of match play. Probably like some of the longest players ever. Will Gordon, and then I played Minwoo Lee.
Yep.
And then I played Cam Champ, and I don't think anyone else calls him Cam, just me. And then Norman. So I was, going first every match, but I met him there. He was awesome, and then I was really excited to play for him, and we got it done. That was really important. I saw him at the Seminole Pro Member a few weeks back, and he's the best. Same every time I see him. Awesome to talk to, great to have a beer with, and he's awesome.
Spider is phenomenal. I've also spoken to Gosh, I'm giving you a chance now to I've spoken to a couple of your teammates and spoken to Mr. Zalatoris. I know he's listening to this, and Will told me this great story about the Valley Club. It's one of the best stories.
Oh
It's one
yeah.
of the best stories ever told on this podcast. And I guess the short version is, they took you guys up to this club and they kind of wined you and dine you, and the membership comes to see you play. And I guess everyone just ripped the hell out of that place that day. And they bring you in for this cocktail party, and Zalatoris is, hi, I'm Will Zalatoris, and I shot 65 today, and Doug Gim, I shot this and this, and then we get over to Doc Redman, and I'll just let you finish the story from there.
So, hopefully I remember correctly. But yeah, what I remember pre that is just, we went into the bar, specifically Scotty Scheffler and I, and we're just like, the bartenders there like, oh man, we'll have one drink. And then before this little party thing where we just have to say, hey, like, no big deal, one drink. Yeah. I mean, I guess I mentioned something about being like shooting a net 73 or something,
Yep.
I don't 81 net 73 or something.
Yep,
like
that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much what the story was. Like, hi, I'm Doc Redman. I'm from Clemson, and I shot 84 today.
Right. And I think Scotty might have said something similar too, but yeah. And then the night went downhill from there. We hadn't even had dinner yet. I don't know if he told you about that. Yeah. We go to this nice place for dinner, and, but we all got wine, and I'm drinking wine, and then I'm grabbing Will's wine and drinking his and doing all that, and he's like getting so pissed, he's not having it. God, I think I broke a plate, and I remember getting a burger and like just not even touching it. And then we have to take this bus ride home, which we're probably an hour at least away.
Oh, that's the worst, being in a bus.
And
oh no.
Scotty and I are kind of like wrestling in the bus, and then like the bus lady just stops, slams on the brakes, and threatens to kick us out if we don't like keep our hands to ourselves, because we're just like hitting each other like wrestling. So that was just like a crazy afternoon. But and then a few days later, I think Scotty got this package, and it was from the guy in the bar at Valley Club. He sent us like a little drink mix basket.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, it was awesome. And just, he was like, this is what you guys like. Here's a basket of it. And we're like, that's awesome. So that was just the icing on the cake for that whole day.
All right, so let's see if we can remember, how many times did Spider Miller get thrown into the pool after you guys won?
I don't know. I know I remember once, but that was, I mean, I think we tore it up. The European team tore it up too. I know that. And it was great because we got to celebrate with the LACC members and all the fans that were there too.
Oh, really?
I mean, well, not in our hotel, but before that, we went to, we just went in the bar in the clubhouse.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's gotta be a great way to cap off the amateur career. I mean, after that, I mean, you're just, it really can't get better than that.
No, that was like my number one goal heading into that summer was to make the Walker Cup team. I wanted to do so bad. And to have done that, it was awesome. It was really, really cool.
You've mentioned several times when people ask you, like, how do you stay focused and how do you put it out of your mind? Because you know that you pretty much need to win that match against Gim to get on the team, or you know that it's going to go a long way. You don't want to leave it to chance to because there were a lot of solid players that summer. You don't want to leave it to chance where someone has to make a pick. You've said many times that, I don't know how I do it. I just kind of put it out of my mind and I just focus on the shot at hand. Do you remember a time in your career that maybe you weren't able to do that, and how you kind of got over that hump to, have that mental focus in these big moments? I
think I'm still learning how to, on a smaller level, every day think about just hitting every shot the best I can and not trying to make birdies. I got over the hump of that specifically at in DC last year, not to keep coming back to pro golf, but
no, you're good.
the course, this was 2 years ago in DC. The last time they had it in DC, it's, the course Avondale is hard, and we come out Saturday, I made the cut and I started pressing and shot a bad number for no reason. And then the last day, going out early, I shot bogey free 64, like the second best round of the day. And it was like, okay, I can't be out here trying to shoot 65 and make birdies. I just got to kind of do my thing and let things come to me and take advantage when I can.
So it's less about a sprint. It's more about just kind of stay in your lane and let things just kind of happen.
Yeah. And add it up at the end, and, you'll be surprised what happens. Kind of Detroit almost. Like I played solid and it was nothing crazy. I think the first round, I didn't get off to a hot start. The second round, I think I parred my first 11 holes, something like that. And, guys are lapping me. That course was, fairly easy. And, I just kind of hung tough, and you end up shooting whatever I shot, 19 under.
Yeah.
And after the round, I didn't even know that I had got an exemption to the British Open.
I mean,
someone had to tell me that, and I was like, oh, dang, yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was just so worried about, honestly, finishing second.
Yeah.
Solo second.
Yeah, because that's just a huge amount of points and just goes that much farther to getting your card, because you were looking at probably like a T, 3 or 4 guys tied for second place as opposed to
right
solo.
Totally.
Yeah. It's a big thing. So I want to talk about that tournament. This is really the tournament, I guess you could say, that really just catapulted you into the spot where you can get your card. And, it's not like you had an exemption into it. It's not that you could prepare weeks and weeks to get there. You had to Monday into this thing, and to make it even more challenging, it's not like you caught a flight into Detroit and just no sweat. You're coming in from Canada, because you finished up a Mackenzie Tour event, and
yes.
I looked it up. So Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, that's where the tournament was, and I think the flight is about 9 hours to Detroit. Does that sound about right?
It was. Well, I went to Seattle first, and then took a red eye over from Seattle. So I think it was like a 4 hour. I mean, the trip was long, total, yeah. And my red eye got in at maybe 5 or 5:30 in the morning, and then I just drove to the course and
you shot 62 on no sleep.
Yeah, not much sleep. No, I forget. I think I stopped for breakfast, got there, changed in the locker room, and warmed up, basically. And like, what was like 1 under through 6, not even playing like crazy, and then we're 1 under through 5, and like birdied the last 4 on the back, and then made 2 eagles on the front, and like there you go.
There you go. I'll see you on Thursday.
Right, like just crazy. But yeah, I just got hot, like found something with my putting, which I hadn't, and started hitting it good, and that's how golf is. It's crazy. But yeah, no sleep, like just going to see what happens, see if you can get hot, and why not me? And it happened, and then the tournament was crazy, and here we are.
Yeah. Do you remember between Monday getting in and Thursday teeing it up for the first round, maybe any moments where you just kind of said, okay, let's not be a tourist here. Let's not just kind of look around and see all the bright lights. Like, let's use this. And instead of saying to your buddies, yeah, I got to play in a PGA Tour event, shot a couple 73s and missed a cut. Thanks.
Right.
I mean, did you remember anything specific in those couple days that kind of got your head screwed on after you got some rest, of course? I mean, shit. I mean, but do you remember anything that got you prepped for that?
I knew I could do it because I had played well at Wells Fargo earlier that year. I played well, I guess it was in May, or no, it wasn't May. Whenever it was, it doesn't matter. I was in the final round through like 14 holes. I think I was T6 and kind of limped home to 18th or something. And so I was like, that's why I was doing those Mondays, was because of that, because I wanted to try and get in web finals. I was like, man, I've been in the top 10. It wasn't that crazy. I can do it again.
Right.
And I think that's what kind of carried me through. was, I've been here. Like, I just got to keep playing well, and I belong. And I finished a little differently than I did in Charlotte, and that's why I came in second instead of ninth, Yeah. And it was really, I was pretty calm the whole time, I think. I 3-putted twice on the back nine the last day and still came in solo second. So, I wasn't freaking out about anything. I wasn't worried about how many points I was going to get. I was just trying to play good golf.
Yeah. No, it was an incredible tournament. I think a lot of people remember it because of Nate Lashley, just an incredible story with him. I mean, it got to be thrilled for a guy like that, and obviously thrilled for you because you took you took that opportunity and Mondaying into a tournament, and Mondays are brutal, and your travel to get there is brutal, and then just to turn around and use it is fantastic. I'm looking at your stats, and I'm not a big stats guy. I know you're a big stats guy. I mean, actuarial math, and was your passion at Clemson? I don't even know what that is. Really, how smart are you, Doc? I mean, really, what do you got going on in there? Really, how?
I'm not that smart.
Okay.
I was decently smart in high school, and I liked math, so I went into math, and it got pretty hard my last semester and sophomore year. I think I didn't have a whole lot of drive to study really as hard as I needed to for some of the math classes I was taking, and it showed in my grades a little bit, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I'm not that smart, but I'll try hard if I need to, and I can do numbers.
There you go. Well, I mean, I guess the one thing I was going to ask you really quick before I let you go is that I'm looking at some of the stats, and if you're just looking at that to get an idea of your game, it's accurate off the tee, and you hit a lot of greens. And then if there's really anything that you're looking to tighten up, which is what you mentioned was your putting. When you get out there in the PGA Tour, I mean, no, everyone's like, oh, that guy really rolls it well, and that guy can get up and down from anywhere. Is it massively different on the PGA Tour when you're looking at short games and looking at putting with your contemporaries, or do you kind of see the difference on that tour as compared to maybe Mackenzie or even playing, USAMs, where you're saying, okay, now I understand what they were saying, where everyone out here can chip it and putt it.
Right. Yeah, I think there is a difference, and it's tough to pick up. But I've played with a lot of PGA Tour players, and I don't know if I've ever in my head thought a PGA Tour player was going to miss from 5 feet, unless it's a super, but especially I've played matches against, Ben Martin, Sam Saunders, a bunch of guys. And it's like, they got some, you're happy when they miss, because you're not expecting that.
Right.
And, it's just, and those guys aren't even like great putters. I'm not even talking about great putters. I'm talking about PGA Tour average putters.
Right.
And you don't think they're ever going to miss. So, yeah, it's crazy, and their speed's incredible. Don't 3-putt a lot, and some guys can really chip it, and everyone has their thing though. I think, and guys do something really well, and it's all about shoring up that other stuff.
Well, we're obviously going to wait and see when we do get out on the PGA Tour, when things will get started again, and I know you're looking forward to that. And it sounds like you're kind of handling the downtime pretty darn well.
So far.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll let you go. I want to ask you one last one. You are up in the Atlantic Beach TPC area, and I kind of find it interesting that you're wearing polo, you're wearing RLX, and your buddy Sam Ryder's wearing Grayson, which is the company that Charlie Schaefer started. He was with Polo, but now he started his own brand at Grayson. Do you guys have to kind of make sure you're dressed up appropriately? Because I would imagine you two are giving each other a lot of shit as to what you're wearing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
He's pretty he's pretty proud of his stuff too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He dresses well. We have slightly different taste off the golf course, so you can't compare it as well. But I think I'm getting really dialed in with the polo stuff right now, so I'm going to be running and gunning for him.
There you go. Yeah. Now, you're talking about like the joggers and stuff like that, right?
I don't mind the joggers.
Okay.
But I don't think Polo is going to be coming out with anything like that soon. So, but yeah, just, they got some really cool shirts. Just getting the shirts and the pants, fitting right, and then getting the color schemes right. And I think you can do some really cool stuff, both of us.
I don't want to make him feel bad because I know that it's a tough time for him being temporarily out of work. I know it's tough for you as well, but I want you to make sure that you let Sam Ryder know that, that in the 2008 Florida State Amateur Championship, I made the cut, and he did not.
Oh, wow.
He shot 80-81. That's right. We're putting it out here. I'm putting him on blast. 80-81, 161. He missed the cut. Now, I didn't really make it by much, but we're not focusing on that. That's just details, okay? But you let him know that some guy that has a microphone and has a podcast made the cut in a meaningless state amateur tournament over 12 years ago, and all he has to show for it is a PGA Tour career.
He's gonna deny.
Oh, well,
because I know that, because fun fact about, I was talking about the DC event.
Okay.
I actually played with Sam Ryder first 2 rounds, and the cameras were all over us because Sam and Adam Schenk were playing awesome. And I remind him every day, though, that I beat him in that tournament, and he still doesn't want to think that that's true. We went head-to-head first 2 rounds. He beat me the first 2 rounds, but you win late, and I got him for the tournament.
They only count him up at the end. I mean, that's all that counts.
That's right.
Well, Doc, I appreciate you joining me here at the back of the range. Obviously, we need to wait and see when the PGA Tour schedule is going to get going again, but stay healthy, and appreciate you joining me here at the back of the range.
See ya. Thank you.
And there you have it. Special thanks to Doc Redman for joining me on this episode of the Back of the Range Golf Podcast. Don't forget, every episode is available on the website, thebackoftherange.com. Make sure you're following along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you again next time for another episode here at the Back of the Range.